This is Word Basics. Kimberly Sherry. I work here in the Library Learning Commons, and we're going to go over some basics to using Word 2010 so that you can get better use for your homework. Okay. The basics of what you can use Microsoft Word for is, papers, essays. That's primarily, as a student, what you're going to be using it for. You can also use it for letters, labels, brochures, calendars. Once you get more familiar with Word, it allows you to do a lot more fun things than creative things. As you can see on this page, this is the top portion of a basic page in Word. You have your quick access bar, which you can actually cater to things that you use the most. Typically, that comes with save, undo, redo. As you can see with that little ABC, that is for small caps because that's something I use a lot. The main part of the menu is the ribbon, and as you can see, it has little tabs, so you can switch back and forth. The file, home, insert, page layouts. The actual icons on the ribbons are buttons. Those are the things that will actually perform the task that you need. As you can see, the grouping where font is, that's called a grouping. So in that grouping, you can change the font style, the size, whether it's capital, underline, bold, and then the basic document where you actually insert your information. Now this is the lower part of your basic page, and it's also very important, or at least it is to me. On the left-hand side, you can see what page you're actually on and the total number of pages. For some people who need to know exactly how many words in a document they have, because some instructors require so many words, that is also on there. And to the right side, you can toggle your views as far as the print layout, if you want to see what it would look like in an outline or published. So those are what those little icons are for. And then on the very far right, allows you to actually resize your document. So you can get as up close and personal as you want, or you can size it down so where you can see the entire document. Okay. The basics that we're going to be going over are creating a new document, opening a document, reading a document, saving and printing a document. Okay? The first thing is creating a new document. As you can see on the right, I've done a print preview of what the part of one of the pages are. And to create a new document, you would click on the File tab, and it would bring up this ribbon. And you would click New. Okay? After New, you have available templates that come up, and it automatically goes on blank document, and then you hit Create, and you have a brand new blank document. If you have a existing document that you're using, you're going to be going into the same tab, except you're going to click Open. Once you've opened it, a dialog box is going to open up. You're going to search for where your document is, and you're going to click on it, and then click Open. And then you can edit it as necessary. Now, reading a document. When I say reading a document, that's actually changing the view of a document. And like I was saying back on this page, in the far bottom, that is where you can change the view from outline to print to publisher using those toggles at the bottom. Okay. You can, to go through a document, you can use your arrows going up and down. You can also use your page up and down. Also, let's go back here, in the very bottom right, If you'll see on the very edge, there are also arrows. Those will manipulate you through the actual pages. Will allow you to change the pages. Okay. Now, saving a file. This to me is the most important thing that you can do when you are working with a Word document. And you have two options. You have save and save as. The difference between save and save as, save is when you are initially saving your document, you are naming your document and placing it in on your computer where you want to put it. Save as is you may have a version of a document and you're wanting to save it as under a different name and a different location so that you can manipulate or edit it and not worry about damaging your original. So this is how the basics of how to save a file. You're going to go again to that file screen, that file tab. You're going to hit save, and then this dialog box is going to come up. That is where you're going to decide where you're going to actually save your document and what the name of it is. Okay? The save as is on the same screen. It's the same process, except instead of save, you click save as. The same dialog box is going to come up, and it's going to allow you to change the name and where you want to put it. Okay? Just remember that whenever you click save, you are automatically saving over that document. So if you wanted to change to a second version, but you click save, it's going to save over your original work. Okay. Save often. Save your work and save often. It is better to save every few minutes and not lose your work than to be in the middle of something, have changed a chunk of your work, and then to lose it. I've done it many times. Okay. The other important thing is printing. There are two aspects to the printing. There's print preview and actual printing. Okay. In Windows 2010, which I love, under File, when you click on Print, it automatically gives you a preview of what your document looks like in the print layout. And if you look on the very bottom, there is where you can actually view the other pages so you can see what they're going to look like when they print. So that way you can see if there's any mistakes, any changes that need to be made before you actually print. Okay? You can also resize the view so that you can, see if you need to get to the small type to make sure it's correct. You can size up and down. Now to actually print, you're going to go back to that same File tab. You're going to click Print. Once here, you have all these options. You can hit Print and it'll print one copy exactly how it is. But with this, it also gives you the option of you can change how many copies you want to print. You can change the layout if you want to print multiple pages on one page, such as the brochure that I gave you. You can actually print, say, 2, 3, however many on one page. You can change how the paper is, whether it's a letter size paper, legal size. You can also change the margins here. So it gives you a lot of settings that you can change before you actually hit print. And then once you've got it exactly how you want it, you click print, it sends it to your printer, and you're done. Now that's for printing a whole document. I'm sorry.
So you say it's better to print preview before you...
Well, you're still going to go to print. And if you want to print preview, you still go to the File tab and click Print. And when you click Print, that preview is going to show up automatically. So I try to always go through that preview, because then that way I might catch something that looks a little off, and then I can go into the document without having to, have printed something that doesn't look right. So, now that's for printing. What we just talked about was printing for the whole document. If you're wanting to actually only print a selection, say there's a paragraph in a document that you want to print, what you would do is you would highlight the text, and then you would click on print on the file, and you would click print, and it would actually give you the option of hitting selection. Okay? And by clicking selection, you're actually telling it, I just want you to print that. And it'll print how it's formatted, but it will only print what you have highlighted. So if you're changing one section and you only need to print that one page, it does allow you to do that. That's the other option, is just printing a page. If you look, you see where it said selection, but it also allows you to just pick page. You can pick, if you want to do every other page, you just put in page 1, comma, and whatever the page number is. If it's a series, you put the first page, dash through the second page. Now, some people are very keyboard oriented. They like using their keyboard. They learn the shortcuts on how to do this so that they don't have to go through the tabs, the ribbons, and go through the menus and all that. So they learn the keystrokes. So I've given you 2 pages of shortcuts on creating documents, printing, changing margins, bolding text. I gave you the keystrokes, and I also gave you where you could find it on the button, the ribbon, and the tab layout. So, like with the first one, which is create a new document, you can either do Control-N, which would create the new document, which would be a blank form, or you go to the File tab and click New. The same thing for print. You go to that File tab and you hit Print. Okay? So you've got 2 pages of those. I tend to use the formatting ones, which is bold, underline, of course copy and paste. So there's some that you'll just instinctually know. I also put on here MS Word Help, which we'll get into later, but that is something to always keep in the back of your mind as an added resource, and I'll explain why. So formatting your document. What we're going to cover is page setup, changing the page orientation, as a student adding a header or footer, which is very important because most instructors want you to put footnotes in the such. Changing the font, because some instructors are very picky about what font they want to use because they want to be able to read it clearly. Moving text around, and undo and redo.